Hi guys, this is Luton, and today we've got a round where I ended up joining just this random game to join some friends, and you can see from the server description that there is no shotguns allowed, no SKS, no M417, no base camping, vehicle stealing, or normal camping as well as base camping, and also, by the way, you might get kicked out if they want their friends to join the game. And also, in addition to this, I think one of my guys actually gets kicked because apparently when I joined they were telling me about the admins of this server, and they were saying to me that they were going, "Oh, Luton, apparently they've also told us that we're not allowed to use smoke." They were saying, because they know I like to use smoke, Worker and Akbar here, and they were saying don't use any smoke because Akbar's already been told off for using smoke. I was like, okay, so what are we allowed to use? Anyway, so you'll see I was in this game. I didn't join into the round immediately because I had to connect up my mic, so I wasn't playing straight away, and that's why you can hear the guys, I think, because the audio is getting routed through the PS3, so you can hear them chattering away in the background. I've got some very exciting news as well, which I have mentioned, and that's basically that I've figured out how to correctly audio sync my files from doing live recordings. Up until now it's always been a bit of a problem because of the way I record using an HDPVR, iTV and iMovie, although I think you can use any format. It's always been an issue getting the audio to sync correctly, and I think it's because of the way it exports. However, thanks to another YouTuber, I've found a solution to this. So that means that hopefully I can do some games where I do live com, and yeah, I'm looking forward to sorting that out. It was also an issue because even though I did kind of find a sort of bastardized way to do it, it meant I ended up with large file sizes and rather long export times, but I think I've solved the problem. So I'm running with the G3 because I like the G3. I'm going with the medic kit. I didn't want to run with the smoke, and we're defending on the second base. So to begin with, I was just moving up here. I told my guys to give me a little assessment of what was happening on the ground, and they were saying that yeah, the guys were pushing quite aggressively at the end, but up until that point they hadn't really been doing too much. So I often, when I'm playing this base, I'll hang around kind of on the tower between B and A. This round I decided to hang out in this building because I don't often go into this building, and I thought it'd be like a little change of pace. I thought also because I haven't run with the G3 very much, and I remembered that I had a lot of fun with it, so I thought I'd set myself the challenge of trying to pick people off at range and see how I got on with the gun. So this round kind of shows a bit of G3 gunplay and how I get on with it. I have to say, it goes quite successfully for me in this round. So I'm just being patient, just waiting, marking, and you can see the rest of my guys have spread themselves out here. I'm calling in the Humvee coming in. But obviously I'm not in a position to do that. I'm not in a position to deal with it, but I am in a position to cover the base. Worker, however, is an engineer, so he's on his way to come and deal with that Humvee. I am trying to continue to practice my recoil management, and like Level said to me, it's going to be something that you learn over time. So I've not been trying to focus too hard on it, you know, because I think if you focus on anything like that too hard in a game, all your other awarenesses start to suffer as a result, because you're focused on it so hard that you start to forget other things in the game. So I've just been trying to, you know, when I have certain shots to take, I think, okay, let's try and control that a little bit more, but it's not the be-all and end-all of gameplay, as I've said before, in the same way that stats of guns are not the be-all and end-all of, you know, you might have the most powerful gun in the world, but if you're not tactically aware, it's going to be useless because, you know, you're going to get killed in a different way, so it doesn't really matter. It's exactly the same with recoil management as well. If you focus on it way too much and that's all you're thinking about, you're going to suffer in other ways. So you need to try and stay aware of what's happening and what your team are doing just as much as you're thinking about your gunplay. So when I'm taking my shots, and especially with the G3, which has a large amount of recoil anyway, I'm trying to keep my rounds to a sort of 3 or 4 burst. I'm not trying to fire too hard. So you can see I'm firing off sort of 3-4 shots. And I'm going with the hollow sight. The hollow sight gives a little zoom in. It's not one of my favourite reticules because that sort of circular reticule I feel obscures a little bit, but it's not too bad. And I think with the G3 it's important to try and, because of its recoil and power, unless you're changing to single shot mode, it is important to try and stick to kind of medium range. and I really have a good line of sight of a medium range, this whole area in front of me here and to the left, and I can cover B nice and safe, so this is a good one. Do we pick off this guy right here? Yes, we do, and it's got such good power, you see. You only need to put in like 3 or 4 rounds at that kind of close range and the target will drop, so that's why if you can just manage that recoil ever so slightly, it will help out. It's kind of funny me suggesting to people to manage recoil, seeing as I suck at it so much, but it's not going too bad in this round anyway. I have as well tried to I tried putting a 6x scope on the G3 before now, and it worked out quite nicely actually, I have to say. You can go to single shot mode and you can get some very accurate kills because it is a very, very powerful gun. Probably would have been, I could have done with a little adjustment on aiming there for the chest and above, but I didn't, so whatever. For the people who keep asking me as well what kind of settings I have for my sensitivity and the dead zone for the mouse, with the mouse I tend to set it actually to 7 now. When I started out I had it about 6, but I found that gave you way too much play in the dead zone. It was a bit too oversensitive, it was a bit sort of twitchy, you know, it didn't give you quite as much smooth control as you like. I have it set to 7 now, and I find that also on the suggestion of Level and Rival, if I sweep to the right or to the left, I can get a 360 turn in about 5 inches, which is just about right. I also had a suggestion from someone today about the nunchuck stick, and someone was suggesting to me that if you change the jet controls to left-hander, it basically will put the most important controls for the jet into your left joystick, which means that you can roll and pull up and push down and basically do those kind of more important movements, and then with your right hand mouse you can do the kind of more panning movements which aren't as essential when you're flying a jet. So I'm going to try that out and see how I get on. I kind of like the sound of it. It could be a very, very interesting solution, and it could also be a solution to the helicopter problem as well. So if that works out, it's going to be quite interesting, so I'm going to try that one. If that works out, it means that there will be actually no downside to the mouse, in my opinion, so that'll be a very, very interesting one to try out. But he said it was very hard because you have to kind of adjust your mentality to get around it, but considering that I can't even use them at all with the mouse right now, it doesn't seem to be a risk that's not worth taking, so I can try that out. Now, an important thing to be aware of is something that I want to cover in a video. I keep talking about these videos that I want to cover, but I haven't got around to doing them. The reason is because the kind of videos I want to make are going to take me a few days to make, so I really need to have some time to do that. But I'll try and maybe do it in between other things when I collect some good footage. But what I want to talk about really is kind of wave spawn defending, and what these guys are doing here right now, the attackers, they're kind of coming in waves. And attacking in waves or killing people in waves, it's not such a good thing to do. If you only have like 3 or 4 people coming into a base at any one time, those 3 or 4 people, when they're attacking a fully defended base, are going to have a huge amount of people to deal with. So basically they're going to have a very, very difficult time to kind of clear out the base. And that's why it's important to try and identify a position where you can get in, wait for some other distraction, so that you have multiple things going on, because if you just attack one point, it can be very, very easy for defenders to get in. Now, you can see what happened there basically was that's what happened. They had the Humvee in on B, a lot of people were hanging around B because there was guys pulling in there. Whilst that happened, we had another group go in on A, and they exploited the weakness of that distraction. And this can often happen towards the end of a round, where you get multiple people all coming in at the same time, and that's when you get overwhelmed, because the defenders suddenly, they're used to only having to deal with 3 or 4 people at a time, and they can focus their fire on those 3 or 4 people once they get spotted. When you have more people coming in, like now you can see we have like 5 or 6 guys pouring into the right, and I'm assuming they're going to have some guys coming into the left hand side as well. That's when it gets more difficult, because the defenders suddenly have to focus on multiple people at the same time. They start finding it more difficult to control those choke points. They start finding it more difficult to control entrances to the base and areas for the enemy to respawn. You'll suddenly get recon points down. That's when it gets difficult, and that's when often bases get lost. Yeah, we can see, okay, these guys come in around the left. Luckily, I'm controlling that. So this was a pretty good round for me, and it was a pretty good round considering I haven't really played with the G3 for, I don't know, a good month, something like that. So I managed to get quite a lot of kills off of this. I think with a bit of luck, I would say half of these kills today were due to good luck more than good gameplay. But yeah, we didn't do too badly, and I was pleased that we won. Look at this guy. Come on. I tried to drive forward there, but I couldn't. Something got stuck on the back of the Humvee, which is a shame. It would have been nice to just roll that over him. But look how many guys we got down here now. Look at this. There's like 4, 5 guys, 6 guys maybe. And as I've said many times, this is always the case when you get down to these 10 tickets or below. Really try to remember this when you're in a rush game, okay? 15 tickets is the danger zone. 15 tickets is the real time when you need to tighten in on your base. My rule generally for defending is that you want to stay just in front of the base so that you can kind of create a sort of buffer zone for the enemy coming in. But when it gets down to kind of 15 tickets, that's the time to tighten in, because they're going to push hard, and that's when you want to have a concentrated defense to really defend those targets. That doesn't mean sitting on the MCOM, but it does mean just pulling into the base slightly so that it gives them less entrances, exit points to exploit. Anyway, that's been this short round, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave your comments and feedback. I always look forward to reading those. Thanks for watching, and see you for another one very soon.